All right. So welcome, everyone. Sorry about that. And today I have Nate Bear with me, and we are waiting on Jon Najarian, but he's in Austria and he is having technical issues. But no worries. We talked to him beforehand, and he has a lot he wants to cover today, but definitely some charts and some tickers. So we've got a lot lined up still. Even if he's unable to join, I'm able to demo some stuff he's been working on too. Yeah, I am a poor substitute for Jon. I have no doubts about that. I did not play for the Bears. I do not have that type of prestige. So very true, very true. But we got a lot to discuss. But today's a big market day. I first wanted to open up, but there's a lot going on. Nate, I know you're watching the Fed right now. The idea is that rates will be unchanged, but it's a big day in the markets with the Fed meeting. All eyes on that. And then we've got 3 of the Mag 7 reporting today after hours. So you got Microsoft, you got Meta, and Tesla. So a lot can happen today with market news.
Yeah,
and it's something more you're watching. I know you are.
No, absolutely. I mean, the big story is, of course, the Fed, but I kind of feel like it's going to be a nothing burger. The only thing I could see happening is maybe Powell goes a little off script during the Q&A, and it sort of sends a jolt through the market. But I'm expecting this to be pretty quiet for an FOMC. And then, like you said, I'm kind of thinking the Mag 7 earnings. We've got Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, and then Apple tomorrow. That is going to be a bigger driver, I think, of sort of how do we finish the week? How do we sort of get into the beginning of February? Then what happens today with the FOMC? But we'll see. You never know, right? That's why we're here and paying attention, and we're ready for anything.
Yeah, and you know what? I love when we're live because members already dropping that there's no change in rates. So that's been announced. But you're right. We should see. The minutes always can change things. Those one or two sentences the Fed chair can say can just have an impact, which is always kind of crazy. And it is no shave January, as Nate noted. Someone gave you stuff there.
I got
it's looking
my
good, man.
It's
cold. You got to get the Vikings.
That's right. Beard. Yeah, I got to stay warm. I don't know.
I support that. I support that. All right. Well, we've got a lot to get into today. And again, we're waiting for Jon to get on. He's having technical difficulties. He's in Austria. Last time he joined us, he was walking the streets of Paris. So I don't know. Maybe he needs to get out of whatever hotel he's in where the Wi-Fi is not working and walk around. I don't know if he's near the Alps or something, but that would be cool. He's so definitely an international man right now. Yes. And it's cool. A little tease here. He's going to be joining us on the East Coast next week. We got more to talk about there because we've got a really cool demo. He's a full-blown demo he's going to do next week, but more on that in a little bit. I don't want to jump ahead here. Let's I think we got audio working. We normally ask people to drop numbers in the chat, but I think we're looking good and no one has said anything. So I'm going to quickly talk a little bit about the conversations we're going to have today.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go ahead and talk about what we got on the agenda. First thing is, we are going to cover today 6 unusually bullish stock charts that both Jon and Nate like right now. And it's cool, without even planning this, Nate, you and Jon agree on one ticker. So we're technically giving 7, but you both agree on one.
Nice.
So that was cool to see. You both have different ways of approaching the market.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how you approach identifying bullish stocks, even if the mainstream media is ignoring them. We're going to talk about 2 unique approaches to technical analysis strategies and how they can be used together. And one of the big things is why you don't need to be, trading millions to be successful at trading. So a lot to get into, but the big thing is how we use the power of AI compared to Main Street retail traders. And Nate, I know that's a big proponent of the scanners and tools we built for you. Jon has something new he built that you're going to see a little preview today when I share charts with you that I've been playing around with that is super cool. You haven't even seen it, Nate.
I haven't even seen it. So I'll be right with everybody that's here today. I'll be learning and getting this for the first time as well. I'm excited.
Awesome, man. Well, all right, let me, hold on, give me 1 second. I want to make sure I tee up the right thing on my screen here. All right. So Nate, walk us through, for people who aren't familiar, just your overview of technical analysis. Like, why do you use technical analysis to make trading decisions?
Sure. So I like to sort of try and take, what I see in front of me, I've always been a math guy. I'm somebody that learns and does well by being able to look at something and think my way through a problem. And I make the joke, it's like, even if you kind of told me tomorrow's news today, I don't know that I could actually turn that into a successful trade. I've never been that guy that can take an idea or the fundamental side of a stock and turn that into a trade. I like saying, if this, then that kind of a situation. So I'm always looking at charts. Like, that's all I do. I look at charts. I look at our AI tools. I look for certain things that are setting up, and then I take trades and I make trades based on what I'm seeing in the charts. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm a technical analyst, first, second, third, and fourth. I don't even look at the news most of the time.
Yeah, and what's cool is we have Karim, who's more of a fundamental analyst, but you and Brian are on the technical side. And I know with the things I've talked to Jon about and the tool he's built, he's on that same path, especially as an options trader. Like, what can we use? Not just knowing like a good stock from a bad stock, like owning Nvidia versus Blockbuster, which doesn't even trade anymore, but like, also, when is the right time to get in, or when's the right time to not buy, sit on your hands, or potentially go short? And technical analysis lends to that.
Absolutely.
And so with your system's TPS,
yep.
For people who aren't familiar with that, I know a lot of people on the chat are. Would you mind just showing a chart real quick of how you quickly identify this pattern?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to turn my charts on. Can you guys see my screen? You can. Okay, perfect. So this is one that I've just happened to be watching, and this is Zoom, and this is a flag. So I'm technical analysis kind of 101, bull flag, bear flag. I like to look for bull flags. I like to look for red dots down here. This is the pattern, and then I like to look for stocks that have stacked moving averages. So in my case, I use the 8, the 21, and the 55. So if I have stacked EMAs, that's my trend. If I have a flag, that's my pattern. And then if I have these red dots down here, that's what we call a squeeze. So that is the TPS method in a nutshell. And the trick here is I'm using these red dots to kind of help me time my entries. Then I'll trade bull flags and bear flags, but I'll trade them on actually 10 different time frames. So depending on the time frame, will determine how long out I go with the options, whether it be options that expire same day, if I'm going out a month or 2 months. And that's my trading method in a nutshell.
That's perfect. And so what was cool there, you had the bull flag. That's how you identify bullish setups.
Yes.
And on the bearish, you're looking for the flip of that.
Yeah. I stopped sharing my charts, but I'll show you exactly. It's basically just the inverse. So you can click on your chart, and if I see a chart that looks like this, then it's a bear flag, right? Because I've got negative stacked EMAs where the 8 is on the bottom, 21 in the middle, 55 is on top. So now I know, hey, this is not a bullish chart. This is a bearish chart. And now I just look for that flag flipped upside down. And then we look for it to continue this way.
Perfect.
So, yeah. It's the same methodology, just, they're polar opposites.
Cool. And we got good questions coming in. We're going to be taking questions live here. 8, 21, and 55, right?
Yes, EMAs? Correct. Okay, 8, 21, and 55. And those are EMAs. And to tell you the truth, it doesn't really matter. You just need sort of a fast, a middle, and a slow. The 8, 21, and the 55 isn't right or wrong. It's just what I always have used. But I use EMAs as well. Correct.
Cool. Well, I can give a little taste of what Jon would talk about here, likely because I've been diving into the tools his team has built, which are really cool. You're going to see that. I'm going to pull up some charts that he gave us tickers today on. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I got these ahead of him because he's still having issues technically. But RSI is one area he's looking at, momentum overbought or oversold. That is definitely one key feature. It's cool. He has something called WaveTrend that's also built into his screener that is like an oscillating, swing and mean reversion technique. I don't know if you've ever looked at that one, Nate, but that was a cool thing I hadn't looked at before.
No, I haven't. I'll be curious to see once we take a look. Yeah, I'd love to see what that is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he'll probably get more into the nitty gritty there later, but it's also got a few other things that are trend related built into it. But again, like the key thing that's cool, and you'll see this when I pull up the charts, is it is using many technical indicators to identify going long or short. So same page there where you guys are looking at different indicators and you can, I guess, arrive at the same conclusions because you guys have one stock you're both looking at today.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Both bullish setups too. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be pretty funny if he said, "I hate this one. It's going straight to the toilet," and I said, "I love this one. It's going all the way up." Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I think the one thing I wanted to discuss before we look at some charts, though, is the concept that you have to have a large account to make money in the markets, especially trading options.
Yeah.
That you have to have some, you have to have like $1 million to have an impact on your finances and life. That you can't trade like this unless you're rich. Your backstory, Nate, is, I think, total proof that is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know, like, tell us how trading options in particular, not just stocks, but options, changed your life and you started with a small stake.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to tell you the truth, if you're gonna trade stocks, you really do kind of need a pretty sizable account, unless you're trading, penny stocks. And I think I'm not alone in this room by saying that's actually where I started, was trading penny stocks, because I didn't know anything about options. I couldn't afford Apple and Amazon and Google, and these huge companies. I didn't have enough money in my account to buy the stock for real companies. So I go out and I trade these stocks that were like $1, 50 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, and the great thing about options is that you're right, just like you said, right? You don't have to have a big account. You can go and you can control. Let's say if you want to go buy, for an example, what's Apple trading at currently? $255. So if you want to buy 100 shares of Apple, you need what, $25,500. It's a pretty big chunk just to control 100 shares. To control 100 shares using options, maybe you could do that. There's so many available options. You could probably do that with a couple $100. So the leverage that you get trading options, especially when you have a small account, is really what sort of opened the door to me personally, from going from just sort of being like an interested participant, but not really ever making any money, to saying, okay, well, I can actually now use the technical analysis I've learned, and I can actually trade the companies that I love and I use every day, instead of these crud companies that, you read something on Yahoo Finance, you're like, this is the next Apple. Oh, let me go buy 100,000 shares, for $200 because it's so cheap. And then you would just watch it do nothing. But using options is absolutely, part of the process that I went through, that opened that door to, financial success in trading.
Yeah. And Mike, 2023, how can you make money just trading a few options per trade? Well, that's just where you start.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's how you begin. Mm-hmm. And you can grow an account, and as the account grows, you can position size differently. Obviously, we are always, and it's funny, John talked about both these things last week. First being, you can control 100 shares of a stock for a fraction of the price, right? Like, that's one thing you can do right here. So with a smaller account, you can actually put out more trades and control more stock for less. On top of that, you can start small. And then as your account grows, you can position size, it'll grow. So like if you're trading $10,000 and you get it to 20, now every time you do a trade, 4%, say you only want to put 4% into each trade, that might be 2 to 3 contracts versus 1. So absolutely. That's exactly how it takes steps and it takes getting there. Yes. And look, there we go. Sugar Doc made $3,500 off one call on the MELI last week. Awesome. So
yeah, that's awesome. Sweet.
And someone asked where John is. He just texted, and there's no streaming reception right now at this mountaintop. He's in a chalet at a mountaintop. So something happened there where he was able to connect earlier. So he really apologized for that, but I'm glad, he's texting right now. He's got the 4 stocks he's eyeing up right now that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to give you guys a little preview of what he's built. That we're going to get into more depth with him in person next week. He's going to be with us in the flesh. We're flying him back from Europe to hang out with us. So that'll be fun. But more on the event in a moment. That's a funny comment right there. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about before we get into some tickers and do some screen sharing is Wall Street using the power of AI, compared to Main Street. And it's funny, like right now, in the past few months, even last year, I don't know if people know this, there were a lot of layoffs inside the investment banking sector because there's so much AI is doing to help improve, their trading algorithms, their team, like so much even more that is automated. So it's being heavily deployed by Wall Street from a cost saving standpoint as a business, but from also they're able to achieve the same results with less people. That means as retail traders to us, we're either, and we've talked about this before, this is a broken record with everything we've presented, Nate, together, and Brian too, who's using AI and his trading, is you either need to start utilizing AI or you're going to be left behind.
Yeah. I mean, I say it every time we talk about it, you're either going to be trading with it or against it. It's that simple. It's a line in the middle and you're either on one side or the other.
Yep. And so like what is cool is everything that we've built at Monument Traders Alliance, Jon and his team have also built something unique to their style of trading. And we're doing a deeper dive with him next week, but we're giving you guys a little taste today of some chart setups, and I'm going to show you how these can show up on your charts. But first, let me share my screen because then Nate's going to do some sharing. But let me get the right screen up here. All right. Okay. I can chew and walk gum, I promise. Maybe. All right, here we go. All right, first off, the tickers. People are always asking, what are the tickers?
Yep.
What are the tickers? So on Jon's radars, and I'm going to pull up these charts, Costco, very familiar ticker in the MTA world.
Yep.
Nate and
Absolutely.
Brian trade this a lot. Corning, which is a cool one to look at, GLW's on here. And one I hadn't looked at is IREN Limited, IREN. I have not looked at that ticker before Jon sent these my way. And Zoom Communications. And we'll find out in a moment what Nate and Jon both agree on. But let me pull up the charts here. And let's start with Costco. And this is a sneak preview at what we're going to deep dive into next week, what is behind this chart. But what's cool is his Monster AI software right here is identifying bullish and bearish setups. And what I really like about this is, so Costco, you can see this. I called it back here at the beginning of January. And look at that move. And now it's consolidating a little bit. But Nate, I'm sure you're looking at this chart too. Like, man, this is one I got to keep an eye on too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We've been watching Costco for what seems like weeks, months, just go down, down, down. It's like, when can we buy in Costco? When can we buy Costco? When can we buy Costco? Well, looks like Jon figured out exactly when we could buy Costco.
Yeah. And again, this is with all the technical indicators built into this, which is I ran a diagnostic on the way they built this. It's pretty robust. I'm very impressed with what they did here. But what's cool is you can see kind of how it's done in the past too. Like when it says go short. And what's cool, it gives you ideas. It gives you option ideas. So for example, this one was an 889 strike call. Whew, man, picking that up, the stock went all the way up to 990. That would have been one hell of a gain.
Quite a move.
But then I like that it's in recent history done a pretty good job picking the oscillating moves up and down. And it definitely picked up these bigger moves in the past. But what's cool here that they built in is the trading stats. So you can look at how his particular indicator has done. And it's got a 65% win rate. It shows you the win-loss ratio without even me having to zoom out and type in how many trades this was. So anyway, Costco's on his watch list right now. He's probably, this trade looks to be over. And then he's probably waiting for the next time for it to reverse or potentially set up a new bullish setup. The next on the list is GLW. And this is just, look at this chart, Nate. So the last two setups, and this is a fresh one right here. So you can see that the 110 strikes expiring next month were just triggered on GLW. And this is electronic components and technology. So this is the tech sector seeing a little comeback and after kind of being a little beat up. Plus we got the Mag 7. So I don't know if this thing's going to tear higher, but again, it's picked it, and it did a good job picking a downward movement back in the beginning of November. And again, you have what's in particular good to see is this is a 71% win rate using this indicator on GLW. So it's got a pretty good win rate here.
That's pretty neat. Yeah. It's neat how it updates depending on the stock you're looking at too.
Yeah, it does. Right. So any ticker you pull up, and again, like you can change time frames. So it's just like you look at stock charts in different time frames, and Brian does. You can actually do it for shorter or longer term trading. Okay, I'm just pulling up the dailies because I can't trade like you, Nate. I just can't do it. So I look at this a lot. Thanks, Steven, for dropping those tickers in here. So when Jon sent me this, what a beauty of a chart. What he doesn't know is I've created my own watch list with his indicator. So I might drop like 2 more I looked at recently at the end of this that are not on his watch list. They're on mine. But okay. IREN Limited. Okay, this is data processing services. And this is done really well. 79% win rate. Okay. So that's out of 29 trades, 23 were winners. So that's a huge win-loss ratio. And really what's cool to see here is that it called a pretty big move down here. It did a great job with this. And sorry, you all can't probably see this as much, but back in December, it said you should buy a 57 strike put. And so this thing dropped all the way down to $32.
Wow.
So that would have been a hell of a trade. And then at the beginning of this month, those $48 calls, the stock's all the way up to 62. So just the intrinsic value on that when you open the trade is almost a $20 difference from when you entered, which is such a big move.
Yeah,
options.
Awesome. Oh yeah, huge with options.
Huge. This one back here would have been killer. 18 all the way up to 74. So this is definitely a stock on my watch list now. All right, and the last one on Jon's list was Zoom, which has traded sideways, been up and down. It caught some of these smaller moves, which was really cool. It actually caught these last 2 pretty spot on. But then this was a big one here. It actually got in ahead of this big move from 72 all the way up to about 83. And now what's going to set up? I mean, Nate, could a bull flag?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it looks like, isn't it?
So this is a 63% win rate. Again, you can really quickly get the summary stats. I really like what they built into this. And this is just what he's got built out on TradingView. He's actually got even something more robust than this. As we do, Nate, we have our own, TradingView versions of things, right? But then we build it into a scanner that, we can use outside of TradingView too. And so anyway, I don't want to get too ahead here because he's going to go into more depth on how all that works next week. But I just want to show 2 more I pulled up, which I did not run these by Jon. So I just want to make that clear. But Applied Digital Corp is seeing some really good moves with this indicator. The win rate's not as high as the others, but I think the recent movement's been very impressive.
Yep.
And then USARE, man. Recently in the news, big move up, government backed now is the reason for this recent pop. And it caught these before that happened. So I think a lot of people always are asking, I'm sure they're asking, how do you know what stocks to own? We've even had some sessions on this before the government starts buying shares. Strategic resources is, US Rare Earths is really what this company's into now.
Very good.
And so if you're looking for a way to potentially catch moves, because no one can know when Trump's going to tweet hey, we're investing in this stock.
Right.
The only thing you can really use is technical indicators. There's some sort of movement happening before news is released. All right. I don't want to show more because there's more on my watch list, and we're going to get more into like, Jeff Mack, you're on to something. I'm just going to say that Jeff Mack is on to something. We're going to cover that in more detail next week, but you are sniffing around the right stuff, my friend. Because he's onto it. He's onto it. There's more baked into that, but he's in the right area. We got some savvy people on the stream for sure. All right, Nate. So that was John's tickers, and you have 3.
Yeah, I do. And let me just get my screen shared again here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So these will be familiar to anybody that is in Daily Profits Live. But this is the first one, and I'm going to actually hide my drawings here so we can just kind of look at the raw chart. Now, what I'm looking at in CoreWeave is like this space, right? This sort of AI support space, if you will. And CoreWeave fits right into that. And NVIDIA is an investor. They recently, as a matter of fact, was it this week? They invested another $2 billion into CoreWeave. And they said, look, we are basically investing so that you can get built up and built out to support us properly. So if you think NVIDIA is not going anywhere, you've got to think if they're making statements and claims like that, CoreWeave's not going anywhere. This is a name with high short float, which is, as you guys probably know, one of my favorite things out there are the names with a high short float. So we've got a name with high short float that is being supported by NVIDIA that's in the AI space. And frankly, it has a pretty nice chart, right? So if we look at this weekly chart, we've got a pretty big flag. And I'm looking at this thinking, okay, well, if we kind of snap over this trend line, the sky's the limit. This thing is probably headed back to like 200 plus. So they've got earnings coming up. And this is a name that has been sort of like really, really at IPO'd, and it was just on fire. It went from 30 up to nearly 200. And it's sort of been consolidating, albeit in a very wide range since then. And I think that it is time for CoreWeave to be, high on your watch list, because I think this thing has a ton of potential.
Yeah, and Brian posted there. He traded this in War Room as well. You guys are on to the same stock here, and it's funny the way you drew that arrow. That might turn into a W, Brian. I know you're on the stream with us, but yeah, CoreWeave. You guys are both looking at this chart and seeing the potential, and that news was big for the stock. So I think you're right. There's a lot that could support its rise higher.
Absolutely. Yep. Another one that actually you just mentioned is APLD, and it's funny because it's a very, very similar situation. Also, NVIDIA is also an investor in APLD. It's in the same sort of arena. It doesn't do the exact same thing that CoreWeave does, but it sort of provides the power that would power CoreWeave's facilities, which is kind of cool. Same thing. It's in that AI support group. And again, high short float. This one has over 30% short float. It has a gorgeous chart. It is an earnings winner. We've been playing this one in both Profit Surge Trader and in Daily Profits Live just about every day. It's been a ton of fun to trade. And this one is interesting because it is a much smaller market cap. So CoreWeave is many billions of dollars. APLD is only a few $1 billion company. So the potential for it to grow and the stock to really explode is there. And if you look at this chart, right? So one of the things I like to look at is like, where's the all-time highs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you go way, 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 way back to APLD, like this isn't the same company. So people say, Nate, it's not at all-time highs. If you go back, to 2003, it was at $100. Well, look, these people have either sold or averaged down so far that they are no longer resistant. So I don't consider any of this over here on this left side of the chart even like worth mentioning or worth looking at, right? So I'm looking at this chart and thinking, okay, look, we're breaking out to new highs here. We've got 30% plus short float and we're at new highs. That is for me like just perfect. Okay, I love that scenario. So I'm all over this APLD chart. And then the final one for me, did you have anything you want to add on this one, Brian?
No, it's just funny. I had APLD on my watch list.
Yep.
Totally not knowing you were going to have it on yours too.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So APLD, CoreWeave, and then the other one was Zoom. For me, Zoom Communications, same one that John likes. And for me, this one is interesting, really because of this weekly chart. So this is a trade that, for those of you who are trading during COVID, Zoom was like one of those once in a lifetime sort of stocks that when everything was crashing, Zoom was going higher, right? The market was down 3%, Zoom is up 20, right? It was just this unique situation where it's like, oh, people can't go to work anymore, so they're going to have to communicate somehow. And Zoom was there to sort of fill that gap. Now, of course, there's competing products and there's other things out there, and Zoom doesn't have like that stranglehold in the market. But look at this interesting weekly chart, right? So it's coming out of this big base, another one with high short float, right? I don't think it's as high as APLD, but it's coming out of this base. And if we start to put in higher highs, and especially if we can put in a good earnings report coming up in March, I think Zoom has the potential to not get back to 400 or 500, but could Zoom retrace to say 150? That would be a 50% plus move in the stock. And I think that's entirely possible with this big base, this big weekly squeeze. And we talked briefly about, that I use TPS, right? So here's the trend, 8, 21, and 55. So we've got a bullish trend. We've got our big flag right here, and we're breaking out of that flag. And then we've got our squeeze, right? Our red dots down here. So we have trend, pattern, and squeeze. And I'm not necessarily going to go buy calls that expire in April and just sit on them, but I'm playing the smaller time frame setups as they appear with the idea that Zoom is generally speaking going to go higher. And I'll use my TPS method on 60-minute charts, on daily charts, on 130-minute charts to find the setups within the overall story. So that's another one that I really like here.
That's great. And that is the two you and John both agreed on.
Yeah.
As current setups to watch. Again, his triggered just a few days ago, but it's on his watch list to break out again.
Nice.
So yeah, that's great. And I will share my screen again to just go over these picks because sorry, I posted the same ticker twice for John's stuff. So I'm just going to run over that for everyone again. Let me share my screen. All right, here we go. Oh, I still have the Zoom. Oh, you were talking about Zoom too. There we go. All right, so let me go back one. Costco, Corning, IREN Limited, and Zoom Communications were on John's radar. And then Nate's radar. Zoom, Applied Digital Corp, and CoreWeave. And again, CoreWeave is something Brian's been trading too. So yes. Lots of crossover with these technical guys, finding the same setups and making money off of them. Awesome. All right, now Nate, I don't think John's going to be able to make it still because of this mountaintop.
Yes.
He's living a tough life in Paris and then Austria on a mountaintop.
That's right. Yeah, it's rough.
Wait till we bring him to Maryland next week. We'll show him what culture is. All right. But let me just get to, hold on one second. There we go. All right. If you want to learn more about what John's doing to see setups, and I mean, I showed you some of those charts, and he's got more to talk about and more to say of what he's built. He is, he's revealing something with us next Wednesday at 2 p.m. He's going to be in person. So unless our internet's down, he'll be here to talk. And again, this is after selling his last trading system for $1 billion. So this guy knows how to build trading systems. Okay. When you're selling things for that price, you know what you're doing. And he's unveiling his next breakthrough. It's something he calls Monster AI. It's very powerful. It's built to spot entries and exits before 10x stock moves. You saw some of those big moves on the charts today. And that is just a taste of what we're going to get into. So there's going to be a live demo revealing how AI can target these, 100 to 1,000% trades in days. Again, that's next Wednesday, 4 p.m. right here on MTA Live. You can sign up. We've got some warm-up stuff you'll get to learn a little bit more about his systems. So click that link at the top of the chat here pinned or above the video here and get yourself signed up. We're going to send you some stuff heading into the event, so you can have a little more background. We can't get into the nitty gritty today, but you'll be able to see what that is all about. And there's going to be some exclusive stuff just for MTA members. All right, we've worked some stuff out with Jon, so you're going to want to be there. And listen, a lot of people backtest stuff, and we'll talk about that, of what he did to build this system. But I want to show you, they launched this with a smaller group of people, and these are live recs they've made using Monster AI. And just check this out. I mean, here, look, APLD's on there.
Nice.
100% in 5 weeks. Oxy's on there. That's a familiar one. 100% in 8 days. SOC 100% in 4. You know, got CART on here, 177% in a month. ASTS 124% in a week. And look at that. The other half they sold for 603% in 1 month. So overall, since they've gone live with this in November, which is why when he showed us this, when he showed us the real results on top of what he built looking back in time, they got a 79% win rate, okay, on 14 trades. The average weighted return is 65% over 24 days and 902% total return in less than 3 months. So this is fantastic stats. So he's gonna present how all this works and really get into the finer details about this. So again, make sure you sign up. Brian and I will be with him live. So that's why Brian's in the screenshot today. But we wanted to have Nate here today to talk about his technical analysis and how he's looking for bullish setups, and they're overlapping with what Jon's doing. So that's always great to see that two smart traders are able to do that. So it's 100% free. Next week's event, definitely show up. And I'm just telling you, like, we've built some great systems here at Monument Traders Alliance, and we are very, very picky when we look at other people's trading systems and their software. So what they've built here is really cool, really unique. And again, this is from a guy, Jon, who's built these and sold them for $1 billion. Yeah. So you're not pulling the hood over Wall Street money like that. They're gonna be digging in more than anyone to figure things out and make sure it's a good deal to buy. So that is what we'd like to have you on next week. I'm going to quickly scan through the chat just to make sure I didn't miss any big questions. It is free though. I saw that was one. Nice. We'll get him some Maryland crab cakes. But yeah, this is going to be him in person. Yep. And we'll be doing a live Q&A with that too. So if you saw what I showed you today and you have more questions, you're going to want to be there. He will have some live trade setups that he is looking at, like we did today, but I think we're going to have a bigger set to look at because we just scratched the surface. So, okay. Nate.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to look at any of the news. Did J-Pow say anything to mess up the markets while we were presenting this?
It's just flopping around, going nowhere. So it doesn't look like it, but I think he's probably still on the mic. So, give him 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get through all the questions, and then we'll see what's what. Like, pretty much it looks like a non-event to me at this point, but I haven't really been paying attention to it either. So we'll see.
Yeah. Nothing burger, as you mentioned. We got people talking about nothing burger.
That's
in
a
the
technical
chat.
term. That's right. Yeah.
Yep. So everyone what they expected. No surprises.
Yep.
And Jon will be here next week. If there's any issues with that, we'll move the event. But he's going to be back in the U.S. And we'll be live with him in person. So we'll make sure he's not on the mountaintop. And he's still texting us, apologizing right now. Feels really bad, but I'm glad we talked ahead of time and he gave us the charts, because then I wouldn't have anything to demo other than my watch list. Actually, I would have had a lot to demo, but he had these 4 tickers. So more to come from him next week. Make sure you sign up. We're excited to be live with him. Brian and him, both Chicago guys too. So they've met in the past, so they know each other. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun talking about the markets and talking about what he's built with with his Monster AI trader system. So, Nate, man, I know you got more trading to do, but thanks for being on here with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you'll be watching the event next week and
For sure.
learning as well. So
yeah,
thanks everyone for joining us, and let's get back to trading.
All right. See ya.
All right. Thanks all.